Hey guys, exciting new product. Should be out very soon. I believe these will be probably Monday evening, Tuesday sometime. What we have here is a 3D printed Fray style body. This is a copy of a supercar, something very similar from an electric supercar from Rimac. It is the world's fastest drag supercar. There's a Koenig car over in Germany, I guess, that rivals it. Anyway, so that's what the body is. These bodies come with a windshield. It's about 4 thou Lexan. It will come with mounting holes already drilled. However, I want to state you still want to use an 059. If you want looser threads, probably go with an 063 drill bit. 059 you want tighter threads. I actually prefer an 059 in the back and an 063 in the front myself. And the reason why these are pilot holes, sometimes resin, when they're printed, can actually drip in and seal. I believe one of these back here actually has that. See, if you can tell, this is sealed a little bit. And it was just the very bottom layer, so it's actually a hole now. But you just want to make sure that they are there, so that way you don't. They can be a little tight at times. If you can thread these, you can break them if you thread these too aggressively, just like any Fray body, if you don't drill them out. So first things first, everybody drills out every Fray body. These are already pre-drilled, so you don't have to do it, but you should still hit them with that. I'll show you the windshield. Windshield has, it's hard to see, but the windshield has 2 notches that go front and back. Therefore, you can, hopefully, I'm terrible at windshields, so hopefully you can glue it in place and it'll sit just like such. So it should just set on those 2. The sides, if you want to tack glue them, you can, depending on how deep you cut them. So it should just sit down in there like that, and you can tack glue it. There's an extra ledge here on the back, right here. That is just for ease of popping them out of the vacuum form. So now these are resin 3D printed bodies. If you pay attention, there will be some roughness and some little dots at times on the inside of the body. Okay, that is because these bodies are held up by little supports. Sometimes you'll even see some on the back. The back is usually going to have a dot here or there. This one looks very clean. And there are dots here. Here. And the dots here, and that's just to make sure that the print does not fail when printing. So, there will be, hopefully you can see in there that there are little dots in here. They're small. They don't really affect anything. There are even dots on the bottom edge here that you could lightly sand off. But they should not affect the way the car, works. The bodies are slightly translucent. Slightly. So the color, while this is a sky blue body, let me see if I can find. Like the smoke body, you can see where the resin's thicker. That's where the post is. It's got a darker color because more pigment gets in there because it has a slight translucent effect. The roof, same thing. The outline is a little thicker and the middle is a little lighter. So there are places where they are thin. They are really light. They are really thin. These bodies on average are coming in about 1.9. Some of them are just below 1.9. That's without screws, without window. So that'll put your body at 2.21 with screws. It's a Fray race body. You shouldn't really have to do much. in the way of mounting it. The one thing I will say is to pay attention. Sometimes there are supports that have to go on these posts, front and back, and you'll see little dots, like you can see some dots here. You may want to use the plexiglass flattening tool and just, just very lightly dust it, or just use a flat file. And I've done that with many of these on the front, just taking a flat file and just dust those points off. And, because sometimes they'll just ride on those points right there. The other thing that a lot of people, these are resin 3D printed. These are not your typical PLA, which, lays down a hot layer. So there are very fine micro lines in the body that you will see, and there are some things that you will see lineage. I can't do anything about that. Then, and you will see very, very, very minimal. If you're going to paint them, I know Steve Dickinson, I sent him a sample of one of the prototypes to get some paint testing done, and he primered it just like you would any other Fray resin body, and I would suggest primer then paint, and I don't think you'll have any issues with the paint from talking to him and talking to others. I did not test this on the TFX because the TFX typically isn't run in Fray width, and that's what this body's designed around. It may work. I would be worried about a little bit about the wheel wells rubbing in the back. You may be able to raise the rear of the body up just a hair. But it's not really designed for that. The Nostalgia body that's coming is designed for that, so the front wheel wells... Unfortunately, the axle was moved up a little bit in that chassis, so the front wheel well on the Nostalgia card looks a little funky because I had to open up the top. Up here on the Nostalgia card might be a little taller, so that way it'll work with the TFX. So when that body comes, which will probably be a few weeks, it'll work straight out of the package on a TFX and or Nostalgia cars. It's a little bit wider than 1 inch, so if you run a 1 inch class, it may not work. I'll have to remeasure it. I actually had to take the wheel flares off of it because they were not printing right on the Trans Am. So 3D printing is to do things like this is very difficult. We do not make these. We do not print these ourselves. We have a company print these for us, and the company printing them for us is very good. He does many, many other things. He does many 3D models of all kinds. So, but the bodies are very light. I believe the heaviest one, I weighed all these bodies. They were all around 1.9. This white one was around 2.1, but they tend to lighten a little bit when they dry. And this was the last one printed. So this will probably come down closer to 2 grams, I would expect. But they'll run anywhere. So if they'll run from 1.9 to 2.1, that's usually the best any caster gets them down to, straight out of the package. And honestly, you should not have to lower them. I mean, you might be able to take... Now, the rails are taken off the back of this top plate. So... yeah, you might have to take a skosh off the back, but not very much at all. We'd rather be a touch on the high side than the low side for legality purposes. The front's got good clearance. Sides have clearance, so we shouldn't have to really touch any of that stuff. So, this is a clone of the Rimac. I can't call it a Rimac because, it's, I'm sure that's just the way it'll go. And they've actually renamed it. It was the C2020 when I actually started working on this a long time ago. And now it's called the Rivera. But yeah, Jim Rose should be doing, shout out to Jim Rose. Jim Rose should be doing a video soon. He has a prototype sample of Nostalgia and the Fray body. I can only do one of them to start. The printer was actually going on vacation, or else I'd be working on Nostalgia right now with him. So, that's the bodies. Let's move the camera here. These These 10 up front here are hopefully going to be our evergreen colors. The purple may change a little bit. The red is not a real bright red. We're having trouble getting the red to really pop. These 10, and maybe a black, obviously, we might make black. Those will be our evergreen colors, hopefully, for the other bodies. We may not make every car in every color. Like, we may not make nostalgia cars in pink, because I don't know who drives a pink Camaro, unless it was very customized. And if you really want to customize it, we might do it, we might not. And then we have some samples of testing colors back here. Let me get the camera on there. So we've got, I'm going to call that a salmon, a tan, a coppery, a light lemon lime green, and this is some form of, actually this is the steel blue. This is the other one. The steel blue is actually an evergreen color, and this is more of a blue gray. It's kind of some sort of, that's gray, and that's sky blue. So it's some mixture of colors from us playing with different color mixtures. But so, like I said, you're gonna be able to see the light spots. So keep an eye on that. I've done testing here. I've had no issues with the bodies. Now, why I say I've had no issues with the bodies is because every time we make a product, there's usually some unforeseen person that can somehow break anything. These are made for Fray speed cars. They're not made for unlimited T-jets. I will say that, guys like Greg Davis, they make bodies. They're using casting resin, which is a different type of resin than we can print with. So with that being said, their bodies could theoretically be a little stronger than these. And at 1/8, every body's delicate. So I wouldn't attribute anything that it's going to break normally. Now, it is a new product. It is 3D printed. This is the first product of its kind that is like this. I know people have 3D printed bodies before, but not to this thinness, lightness, quality, essentially. So we may run into some unanticipated problems. One thing is, one question is, how flexible are they? They flex just like a Greg Davis body. They come back. They flex and they come back. Now, a few key points. They will absorb moisture. Now, too much moisture is a problem. Moisture with resin, I would not suggest dunking them in water. I think you could wash them off and be fine with water, but I would not submerge them for any length of time. The reason why that is because water. While water doesn't hurt resin itself, but these have microfine layers in them, and microfine layers, if you get water in them, it can expand and contract them and cause them to crack. So I would not recommend it. We're still doing testing on things. I've had bodies in water, testing and playing. Haven't had any issues with them yet. They get really, I'll say, soggy after a while. And then I've actually dipped them in chemicals like acetone. Not recommended, by the way. But I've dipped them in chemicals like acetone just to take the water back out of them. They firm back up. But that doesn't mean they won't crack easier sooner. And with them being so thin, I would not recommend soaking them in water. We do have little points on the bottom. I'm not sure how well those little points will hold up in accidents. I'm hoping that won't be. They're kind of tucked under the body. That's the way the real car looks, so that's what we got. That's what I designed, because I could have made it solid there. Maybe I should have. Maybe I shouldn't have. I'll get a yes, I should have, from some people, and I'll get a no from the hardcore guys. So anyway, this is the first body product. It's the hardest one to make, so we want to see how this one, if we get too many complaints and things like that, we may have to adjust things. I think it'll be fine from my testing. So that's pretty much what we have for you. The body's going to retail for $15. Screw, it's 2 screws, body, window, you know, and this is, I haven't touched these. These are right off the production line, just like this. Every once in a while, you'll see some dots in the wheel wells. Let's see if we got one here somewhere. You might have to just rub, and a lot of times those little dots, you can rub them with your fingers and they'll go away. There's one actually right here on this yellow one. Right there. See? And you can just rub it, and it's, you know, it'll just go away. It's nothing major. So, I hope you guys, I know there's a lot of people looking forward to it. I've been posting spoiler pictures. These 5 colors, they may never show up again if you want them. They're probably in limited supply. Even some of these were limited, you know, with the, I got as many done as we could with the printer going on vacation. So hopefully this will suffice, give you guys a market. It'll give you guys something to work on and paint, and maybe take some alleviation off some of the very few casters who are out there right now. And so if that does that, and they can work on new stuff and, you know, catch up a little bit, give the painters some stuff to do. We do also have some blem bodies. I don't have any of them here, which we probably will be selling. They either have, get a brighter one so it's easier to see. Show you the green one up close. We have some blem bodies, and what happens, the biggest failure point we've had is the wing right here will either bubble up a little bit, you know, I'm exaggerating, or it's been breaking there occasionally. And so we may have some blems for like $10 a piece, and that's all that's wrong with them, is that one little spot. For anybody who wants to repair it, anybody who just doesn't care, I don't think most groups don't really care if you have something like that wrong with your body. You know, you might be able to push it down and glue it, depending, you know. And some of them are just bubbled up, and we've been working on figuring out why it bubbles up. We're both a little bit, him and I have talked about it numerous times. I'm probably actually gonna have to redo the entire structure of the body and try and fix it for longer runs. And if these sell, if these take off, I have more designs already in the works. Who says T-Jets don't have magnets, huh? And so I have more designs in the works. I actually have possibly a BMW M8 in the works, and or no, it might be a BMW 326. I had both working at the time, and I have a Ford GT40, the old one. I don't know. The Ford GT doesn't look right in a decent scale on a T-Jet. No matter what I do, I'm not happy about it. So I'm thinking maybe we can just skip that one, because Jeff Hurley already makes that one, so it's a little long, but you know, if I shorten it too much, it looks kind of funky. I'll say that. Nostalgia Buddy's coming, working on an indie body as well. You know, they're just gonna take some time to get them finished. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know your feedback, comments, criticisms. You know, hopefully we can make everybody happy. Hopefully we have some good fray racing soon. Thanks.